Hi, welcome to Wally Magazine. Today we are going to talk about the existence of consciousness after dead. Before we start the program, we would like to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. At the same time, you can also support our program production and continuous development. Thank you very much. Humans have always been curious and fearful about the topic of death. When a person dies, their body begins to decay, but does their consciousness still exist? This is a thought-provoking question. Firstly, we need to understand what consciousness is. Consciousness refers to a person's perceptions and sensations, and is the basis for human thought and behavior. Throughout life, people experience various sensations that form a collection in their minds, which is their consciousness. So, when a person dies, does their consciousness continue to exist? Some people believe that consciousness disappears when a person dies because it relies on brain support, and when the brain stops functioning, consciousness also disappears. However, others believe that consciousness can continue to exist, and there is evidence to support this view. For example, in some reports of near-death experiences, some people report being able to see things outside of their body and feel the presence of their consciousness. In addition, some people report seeing light or other mysterious phenomena. These reports have caught the attention of some scientists, who have begun to study these phenomena. In recent years, some scientists have conducted research on the question of whether consciousness continues to exist after death. One of the most famous studies is the Wisdom of the Stars project led by Australian professor Stephen Hawking. The aim of this project is to study the state of consciousness after death. In this project, scientists will use advanced techniques such as magnetic resonance imaging and computer simulations to study brain activity and the state of consciousness after death. In addition, there are other studies that also support the view that consciousness can continue to exist. For example, in some reports, some people report that they can see after they have been declared dead. While the idea of consciousness continuing to exist after death challenges our common-sense view of death and consciousness, it is also a confusing and intriguing concept. This article will explore whether consciousness may exist after death and the reasons behind this view. First, let us discuss what consciousness is. Consciousness is typically described as a subjective experience, including perception of self, the external world, and time. Consciousness also involves experiences of sensation, emotion, thought, and intention. The brain is the physical basis of consciousness, but consciousness itself is an abstract concept with no tangible entity or mass. Because of the abstract nature of consciousness, it is difficult to determine whether it exists and how it exists. Now, let us turn to the question of whether consciousness may exist after death. Some people believe that consciousness after death may exist outside of the body, such as the soul or a field of consciousness. They believe that consciousness is an entity independent of the physical world and can continue to exist after death. This view is typically based on religious or supernatural beliefs and lacks scientific evidence to support it. However, some scientists and philosophers have proposed alternative possibilities to explain the existence of consciousness after death. One hypothesis is that consciousness is an information-based phenomenon that can exist outside of the physical world. This view is called information theory, which suggests that consciousness can exist beyond the physical world because it is based on information and can be realized on different physical bases. For example, if consciousness is a complex computational process, then it may be realized on different bases such as the human brain, computer, or other intelligent beings. In addition, some studies suggest that the consciousness that may exist after death may be related to very low-frequency brain waves. These low-frequency brain waves can still be detected after a patient's death and may indicate the continued presence of consciousness. However, these results are still controversial and require more research to determine if there is a true existence of afterlife consciousness. In addition to the scientific research mentioned above, many people also interpret the existence of consciousness after death through their experiences and beliefs. Some people believe that the soul can survive outside the body and continue to exist after death. In some religions, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, The afterlife is described as the eternal existence of the soul, which may be reincarnated in another person or animal. However, the existence of afterlife consciousness remains a complex and controversial topic that requires more scientific research and philosophical exploration to resolve. Regardless of whether it exists or not, exploring the existence of afterlife consciousness can help people better understand and face death, and gain a deeper understanding of the value and meaning of our lives. In certain religious beliefs, death is not the end but the beginning of reincarnation. For example, in Hinduism and Buddhism, death is seen as the process of the soul moving on to the next body rather than a permanent disappearance. In this belief, consciousness is considered a part of the soul, which may continue to exist after human death. These beliefs also often describe the existence of ghosts or souls, entities that are separate from the physical body but still maintain consciousness in some ways. Apart from religious beliefs, some philosophers and scientists also study the existence of consciousness, especially after human death. For example, philosopher David Chalmers proposed the concept of the heart problem in his paper, The Conscious Mind, which refers to how we can explain why humans are conscious, or why consciousness arises. Another philosopher, Thomas Nagel, proposed the concept of the bat problem, which asks whether we can imagine how bats sense their environment, even though we cannot experience their sensations. This problem highlights the difficulty of understanding or experiencing the consciousness of another organism. However, there is still no clear answer to the question of whether consciousness exists after death. Some scientific studies suggest that consciousness may be produced by the brain and disappears when the brain stops functioning. But there are also exceptions, such as some patients who have near-death experiences during heart surgery or other procedures, which include seeing light or meeting deceased loved ones. These experiences may indicate that consciousness exists in some extreme cases. Apart from these mysterious experiences, some people believe that such feelings may be a response of the brain to a lack of oxygen or the effect of chemicals in the blood. In any case, these experiences remain a mysterious phenomenon that requires further scientific study. In addition, some people believe that consciousness can survive after death, usually referring to the concept of soul or spirituality. This viewpoint is very common in religious beliefs and spiritual practices and has existed throughout human history. Some believe that death is only the death of the body, and the soul or consciousness continues to exist on another level. This belief is expressed differently in different cultures and religions, such as heaven and hell in Christianity, reincarnation and nirvana in Buddhism, and Brahman and samsara in Hinduism. However, the scientific community generally believes that consciousness cannot survive after death. Consciousness is a phenomenon related to brain activity, and when the brain ceases to function, consciousness also disappears. Additionally, consciousness is not an independent entity, but is generated by complex interactions between neurons. These neural interactions can generate various thoughts, emotions, and sensations. Regarding near-death experiences, scientists have different views on their interpretation. Some believe that these experiences are due to the brain being in a state of hypoxia or other physiological conditions rather than a genuine supernatural experience. Others believe that these experiences are evidence of consciousness continuing to exist after bodily death, similar to the non-locality phenomenon in Niels Bohr's theory of quantum physics. Apart from near-death experiences, there are other examples that suggest consciousness may exist after bodily death. For example, some people report having met deceased loved ones in dreams and feeling that these encounters were very real. Additionally, some people claim to have communicated with deceased loved ones through mediums and received real information. The veracity of these examples is difficult to confirm, but their existence at least indicates a possibility that consciousness may exist after bodily death. In conclusion, whether consciousness exists after death is still a controversial issue. Scientists are conducting more research to unravel this mystery. Whatever the ultimate conclusion, this issue will continue to arouse people's attention and curiosity. Furthermore, some experiments suggest that when people are approaching death, their brains may produce phenomena similar to hallucinations, including seeing bright lights, feeling calm and peaceful, and seeing deceased loved ones. These phenomena may be due to strange chemical reactions in the brain before entering the state of death, but they may also be a part of consciousness because they typically occur only when one is conscious and clear-minded. Therefore, many people believe that death is not the end, but a new beginning, a world that is different from what we currently know. They believe that consciousness may exist after death, possibly in a new dimension or form. This belief exists in different cultures and religions worldwide and has various interpretations. In summary, there is no definitive answer to the question of whether consciousness exists after death. Current scientific research is limited, and most theories and beliefs are based on personal experience and faith. However, this exploration and reflection help us better understand the meaning of life and death, and make us cherish our lives more. In conclusion, the issue of whether human consciousness exists after death is a highly difficult problem. Currently, there is no clear answer, but scientists and researchers are continuously exploring and conducting experiments to unravel this mystery. Some studies suggest that the consciousness that may exist after death may be related to very low-frequency brainwaves, while others believe that this experience is purely a physiological phenomenon produced at the end of life. Although there is currently no scientific evidence that clearly proves the existence of consciousness after death, many people remain skeptical. They believe that at death, one may enter a new realm, a state that is neither life nor death, which may be related to a person's soul. Regardless, logically speaking, the end of life is death, and it often brings fear and anxiety. However, if we can face death and accept it, we may better understand and appreciate the value of life and make better use of our time and resources on Earth. Finally, we must remember that even though the existence of consciousness after death remains a mystery, we must still respect and cherish life. Whether we believe in the existence of consciousness after death or not, the value and meaning of life itself are irreplaceable, and we must cherish it. That's all for today's content. Before our YouTube program comes to an end, we hope to remind everyone to subscribe to our channel. We also welcome your feedback in the comment section, so that we can better understand your needs and opinions, and improve the quality of our program. Thank you very much.